Tucked away in a corner of Washington, D.C.'s trendy DuPont Circle neighborhood lies a tempting treasure, a sweet retreat called the Chocolate House. Marisol Slater is one of the store's 3 current owners.
The shop was opened about 10 years ago. It was opened by a gentleman who was a flight attendant and traveled all around the world, and he loved to buy different chocolates from every place that he was stopped while he was flying. And that was sort of his idea for the shop, was kind of like a wine shop but for chocolate. Almost all of the cacao producing countries in the world we have a bar or a product from, which includes most of Latin America. So Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Haiti, and into Ecuador, Venezuela, Panama, Brazil. Some countries have bigger production right now than others. Do you guys have any questions?
Like the cacao tree, Marisol's roots are planted in Latin America as well.
My mom is from Chiapas, Mexico, and grew up in Mexico City. I was born in South Carolina, and really from an early age, my mom kind of impressed upon me the importance of some of these indigenous and ancestral foods, corn, different fruits, and then particularly chocolate. I think it's like a point of pride for a lot of Mexicans and Latin Americans that chocolate is really native to the region. It's native to the Americas. A lot of people don't know that it's an agricultural product, that it's like coffee. It grows, and it grows in the global south, 20 degrees north and south of the equator. Most of the world's cacao comes from small farmers, so it's not these big, huge agro-farms like palm or banana. 80 to 90% of the world's cocoa is grown and harvested by farmers who have like 25 acres or less. People always think about like Belgian chocolate or Swiss chocolate, but Europe gets its reputation for chocolate from production. It has produced chocolate since cacao was brought from the Americas to Europe. And the Europeans found out all these different and super creative and ingenious ways to add sugar to it and add milk powder and make, bonbons and confections. So that's where their expertise comes in, is in production.
The Chocolate House features creative flavors like whiskey pecan, cherry blossom, champagne, and passion fruit. Some look too beautiful to consume. What's the most popular flavor?
We sell a lot of salted caramels, which I believe is probably a huge trend for all chocolate makers. But in terms of bars, we really try to promote our local makers, people who are doing the whole process themselves from bean to bar here in the area. And those tend to be darker chocolates, so 70%. And the more people kind of learn about chocolate and taste more chocolates, the more people gravitate towards some of those darker chocolates. A lot of that flavor and aroma and depth that you would find in a really fine wine. We have a number of bean-to-bar makers, and those are people, when we say bean-to-bar makers, those are people who start with the cacao bean and then roast, grind, and turn it into a bar. And then we have a number of chocolatiers, and chocolatiers are people who take the finished kind of chocolate product, like a bar or chips of chocolate, and they melt it down and they turn it into these like beautiful painted filled chocolates, confections, caramels, and things like that.
In 2016 marked the year the Chocolate House sponsored Washington, D.C.'s first chocolate festival, a chance for people with a passion for chocolate to meet the makers.
How are you guys doing?
We're killing it. This is all we have left.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's like 200 bars gone.
Good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good news.
Yeah.
We are super happy with the turnout. We were a sold-out event, and I think almost everybody has come and claimed their tickets. We're really pleased. We have a lot of local DC, Maryland, Virginia makers today. That's who we reached out to first to support and kind of invest in the festival. And then we have some international makers, Picari from Ecuador, Diestro El Sabo from Bolivia.
Picari means nature in Quechua, which is the Indian language of our land. It also means new beginning. So the founders liked this word because they said we have to start the chocolate business as a new beginning, and also let the world know that the best cocoa doesn't come from Europe, it actually comes from our country, from Ecuador. In Ecuador we have about 20,000 people that depend on cacao growing that work for us. We have about 23 different bars, but then we also have some fruits covered with chocolate.
There are 5 types of bars, but we also have 100% cocoa powder. It comes from the co-op in Bolivia. These trucks are taking the beans of the chocolate, of the El Sabo chocolate, which is 100% organic. All the beans are air dried. They don't go into ovens, so it's pure, and it keeps all its nutrition, all its caffeine. Once those beans are dried, they have to go to a processing plant. And since the beans are grown on the east slope of the Andes, on the skirt of the Andes near La Paz, they have to travel on what's generally known as the most dangerous road in the world. These trucks cannot pass, and usually, especially when it's raining, they have their own protocol as to who has to stop and back up to go to the little area where they can pass. And sometimes they have to wait a day or two if the mountain falls on the road. But it just goes to show you what all the co-op has to go through to get the chocolate.
Back at the chocolate house, Marisol and her partners offer tastings and classes to the public.
We do a basic tasting class and we do a basic truffle making class. And the basic tasting class is kind of your introduction to chocolate from start to finish. We really want to be more involved with small makers and with farmers. So for us, it'll be great to use kind of our platform and knowledge about chocolate to reach out to more farms around the world, particularly in Latin America, and try and get those farmers connected to makers or distributors, importers who can use their beans and kind of increase their ability to take this amazing plant and make it their livelihood.